I didn't move out here looking for trouble. Not a neighborly argument, not an HOA headache, nothing even remotely close to a property war. I came for the opposite, a little peace, a little space, a quiet life where fences weren't arguments waiting to happen. When my uncle left me this house, it felt like a gift of silence, a piece of land carved from memory instead of money. And though I didn't feel like I deserved it at first, the land welcomed me little by little. The cedar frame house stood on an odd-shaped lot, the kind where fences wander like they're following old footsteps rather than rulers. But there was charm in every crooked line, every stubborn post, every creaking board my uncle once hammered into place. I moved in slowly, unpacked even slower, fixed what needed fixing, and let the calm soak into my bones. The first weeks were nothing but birdsong, morning coffee on the porch, pine-scented air, and that gravel driveway my uncle always promised he'd level next summer. No drama, no interruptions, just me in a house that was learning how to be mine. But peace has a way of ending quietly. One morning I stepped outside and found a bright orange survey flag poking from the grass like a warning I hadn't learned to read yet. I thought it was a mistake, a random marker, until the next day when five more appeared, orange, yellow, red, pink, blue, forming a crooked line across my lawn as if someone had paced through the night counting steps toward a battle I didn't even know existed. I pulled them out, confused but calm, not realizing someone next door had already decided the outcome of a fight I hadn't joined. The first time I saw her, she was packing her own yard with a clipboard and eyes that scan land the way hawks search fields, not to admire but to take. She looked like someone who had never once accepted no from the world. Platinum blonde hair tied sharp, expensive shoes that didn't like soil, and a confidence that only people with deep pockets or no shame carry. Her house was newly purchased. Clean lines, no personality, something chosen for convenience rather than love. That afternoon she walked straight up my porch steps, not to welcome herself but to assess me like an entry on her clipboard. "I'm Marilyn Shaw," she announced, professional smile tight as wire. She didn't ask about me, didn't compliment the house, her eyes were already crawling over my fence, the slope behind the shed, measuring inches like she owned a tape measure stretched across the whole world. "Have you had your boundaries verified recently?" she asked, like a judge asking how I plead. I told her the land was properly documented, decades old but legally sound. She smiled like people smile when they think you've said something naive. "Sometimes these old surveys drift," she replied, as if land physically slides in the night like furniture rearranging itself. That was her first move, pretend it was just a question. Later, I'd recognize the tactic, plant doubt, then harvest fear. Days passed, nothing happened until something did. An envelope showed up in my mailbox with no stamp, no return address, only my name written in a style too flawless to be friendly. Inside was an outdated satellite printout with a fat red line scribbled right across my yard, through the garden, through the shed, through the fire pit I built with my own hands, and beneath it, "Potential encroachment pending verification. Your fence may extend up to 12 ft beyond your boundary." It wasn't official paperwork, it was psychological warfare printed on cheap paper. Someone wanted me nervous enough to move my fence before the truth showed up. I wasn't going to play that game alone. I called my friend Claudia, a real estate lawyer who treats property lines like sacred scripture. I sent her photos of the flags and the fake diagram, and before I even finished explaining, she was already irritated on my behalf. "Hire your own surveyor," she said firmly. "Someone trained, certified, and allergic to legal manipulation." She gave me the number for Carla, the kind of surveyor who doesn't tolerate people who think ownership can be willed into existence with a clipboard. Carla arrived the next morning, boots dusty, hair tied back, eyes that understood land the way sailors understand tides. She measured angles, checked posts, studied maps my uncle kept safe for decades. "Just so you know," she said quietly while tightening a fence bolt, "surveys don't lie, but surveyors sometimes do, especially when someone pays them to find a problem." A chill crept into my spine because that meant someone wasn't looking for truth, they were manufacturing one. And right on cue, a white pickup rolled into Marilyn's driveway. A guy stepped out, reflective vest too clean, attitude too polished, and introduced himself as David Lehman, survey contractor. No firm name. No credentials shown. Carla asked who licensed him. He dodged the question by pretending not to hear. He marched straight toward the fence like he owned the dirt under his boots. Marilyn watched from her porch, sipping iced coffee like she was directing a show instead of a scam. David began marking points, not where markers truly sat but where Marilyn wished they did. Carla muttered every few minutes, "Wrong measurement, wrong line, that marker never existed." It became obvious he wasn't surveying, he was redrawing reality. Then a drone appeared, humming above my shed, hovering over my garden beds like a mechanical vulture. Unauthorized, unregistered, sent to gather footage that didn't belong to them. Carla's jaw tight. "He's creating a discrepancy, a false encroachment narrative." That's when she called the county, not as a complaint but as a formal alert. She used phrases like fraudulent boundary manipulation and unauthorized survey activity, words that turn casual disputes into government-level problems. The county responded faster than I expected. They scheduled a visit with their own third-party surveyor and a zoning official the following week. Translation: Marilyn had already filed something behind my back, and now the county wanted to see whose paperwork actually had a heartbeat. When David packed up, Marilyn approached, smile painted back onto her face. I hope this doesn't get complicated, she said, voice sweet like poisoned honey. It doesn't need to be, I stared right back, not on my end. She blinked, not understanding that I wasn't the one picking this fight. Carla waited until Marilyn vanished indoors before saying what I already feared. This isn't a misunderstanding, she wants your land. That night I sat on the porch where peace once lived easily. The flags were gone, the fake map addressed, but the war had officially begun. I came here for quiet, but quiet is exactly what some people try to steal when they think you won't fight back. My uncle's land wasn't just dirt and wood, it was legacy, memory, sweat soaked into soil. And if someone wanted to carve a chunk out of it with lies and intimidation, then I'd put up a fence she could never cross, one made out of truth, documentation, and a stubbornness she didn't realize I inherited from the man who built this place board by board. Those neon flags were not decoration, they were the first warning shots, and I wasn't going to lose a single inch.